Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 174 of the Let's Play World. I'm over here at our vault, and I want to show you some of the work I did. We go over here and enter our combination. And see here, I've started to move in. As we cross the bridge, you'll see stacks of different materials. Got a stack of deep slate diamond ore, got some regular diamond ore, got some ancient debris, some emerald blocks, a netherite block, some gilded blackstone, some diamond blocks. And then in here, I've got some sponges, some nether stars, golden apples, enchanted golden apples, a couple of heart of the sea, the rest of my emeralds, the rest of my diamonds, and then our music disc collection. There are some other things that we could probably stack up in here if we wanted to. You know, there's no gold ore or things like that, but I just don't feel like they're as valuable or as rare. So this is kind of cool. This is kind of a fun spot here to just take in like how much riches we actually have. And we can continue to add to this if we've got more stuff. There are other things back at the base that are, I would also consider valuable, but we kind of have another place to put them. For example, the pottery sherds are pretty rare, you know, when you think about it, but I like them better as decoration than sitting in a chest. What's another thing? I mean, like, for example, turtle shell helmets. They are hard to get, you know, and they take a lot of work, but I don't think we need to keep them in our valuables necessarily. Another example, over here we've got our banner patterns. We've got two of those. We've got the snout and then the flower charge. And I want them here by the loom, although they're exceptionally rare. Up top, we've got our armor trims. Armor trims actually probably make a lot of sense to keep those in with the valuables, but I like that we created a space way, way up high specifically for trimming armor. We run up top here and we take a look at our wall of tasks. We have made some progress. So, the vault, Douglas Gordo. I think that one is done. Boom. Douglas actually had another suggestion for the vault, which was to use beacons as security lasers, which is actually a really cool idea. If you did some like red glass, you could have these red lasers kind of coming out of the floor, and that'd be a really cool look. The only thing I don't like is in order for the beacons to work, they would have to have sky access. And then I'd have to poke holes in the ceiling, and there would be these beacon beams pouring out of the hillside, and I don't think I like that. So we're going to save that suggestion for something else. What else? Mob farm. We did that. Boom. Over on this wall, formal gardens, in between spaces, we're still working on those. Over here, build portal in Nether Monument. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And then we've got some of these other ones up here. The Nether tunnel to the mangrove swamp, Nether tunnel to the mesa, clean up the sniffers, hostile mob zoo. So here's what we're going to do. Today we're going to spend some time in the Nether because I want to get some of our Nether tunnels totally done. There's a couple that are just not totally finished yet, and it's bugging me a little bit because they're just kind of a half-done project, and I'd like to finish those up. Once we get these Nether tunnels done, then what we'll likely do is, in addition to our formal garden and in-between spaces, we're going to build that portal in the Nether Monument. And that's going to open up a whole new part of the world that we'll get to explore and check out and see what's going on over there. We can update our maps. We can see what's going on as far as caves and different things like that. And once we get done doing all that exploring, that's going to take us down to a mushroom island where I want to work on our amusement park. That might be a pretty big project depending on how many things we want to add to our amusement park, and that might take us all the way up to 1.21. Now, once we get to 1.21, we're not finished. There is more world to explore and that kind of thing. There's some of these other things here. For example, the hostile mob zoo, or clean up the sniffers back at our old zoo by our old base, the block museum, the fireworks display. You know, once we have a crafter block, a fireworks factory or a fireworks display makes a lot more sense because I could just feed in some gunpowder and some things, and the crafters could actually make the fireworks. And so a lot of these go back and visit some of our old spaces. there's a lot of cleanup and a lot of little things I'd like to do around the world once we get to 1.21. So that's kind of the plan going forward. Like I said, today, let's go into the Nether and get some work done there. If you're new to the channel and you like the video, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And if you really like it, you can support the channel for as little as 99 cents. Just click join for details. Or you can support my work directly at buymeacoffee.com. I'm going to gather up a few materials here. One thing I'm going to need, and I haven't made a lot of it lately, is some concrete. Grab a little bit of sand, a little bit of gravel. I think I'm going to need some yellow dye. Man, that looks real cool off in the distance like that. Okay, off to the Nether we go. Okay, let's run off this direction first. There's a tunnel over here. It's a gray one that goes off to the mangrove swamp outpost. And I have been nibbling at it every so often. And you can see, once we get out to here, this side is not very done. This side is pretty close. And you know, I've got a wool farm now, so I likely have enough wool that I could make all the carpets I need here. This side, though, is still pretty wide open. There we go. Once I put the carpet in here, we shouldn't have to deal with these guys anymore, which will be quite nice. As you look here, you can see that I've got each of these green intersections in. I just haven't finished all of the side work here. So, yeah, doing some work out here, and I got all the way down. Finish some of this still to here. And I think here it's going to change a little bit. I think I'm going to do this in glass, just so that we can see this, because I think it's kind of interesting. And then once we get down to here, we might change it up again. There's a section here where let's go past a couple of bigger areas here. And then we get to the end here where it turns left and goes off to our mangrove swamp. But I also want it to go this way. Now you might remember way back there where the portals to the mesa and the desert and the end are. I wanted to extend that hallway out a little bit. And if we were to extend that hallway, it would intersect with this hallway. So what I want to do, I think, is take the nether tunnel out in this direction. You'll see once we get here, it kind of opens up a little bit over this big lava ocean, which typically I don't love, you know? Not a great situation to build in. It's a little dangerous. A little bit of netherrack here, and then it comes out a little further. That would be where we would turn right, go off in that direction to meet back up with the tunnel over by the mesa portal. Now, I think what I want to do is where that intersection is right up here, where the mesa and this convene, I want that to be sort of like a floating thing out over the ocean, a floating room, whatever you want to call it, over the lava ocean with a portal in it. And that portal will give us access to parts of the map that we haven't explored before. Now, leading up to that, instead of doing tunnels, I kind of want to do elytra tunnels. So right up here, there would be like a room or a box or something kind of floating in the air with a door on this side and a door on the right-hand side, so that we could just fly in and land there. Or we could fly in, turn left, and then fly in this direction back this way. And so what that means is rather than this being a tunnel, this will be kind of a big tube that will just fly through. And there won't really be a floor here. There'll just be open space here that we could fly through. Now this might get a little tricky here because we've got this big old chunk of nether rack above us, and it goes fairly deep. And so, you know, maybe here-ish or something, hello, we could then turn it back into a tunnel. And that's what I wanted to use that yellow concrete for, is so that we could create rings to fly through to get back and forth. Now, I don't think we're getting all of that done today, because I think that's going to be a lot of material that I have to remove. And then, of course, we need to build that box floating out in space, so that might be its own thing. Not to mention, we've got all of this that we still haven't even finished. But let's see what we can get done on it today. All right, once we get this carpet in here, this gray portion of the tunnel will be all spawn-proof, sealed up, finished, and safe. Right up here, where this gray portion ends, we're going to do a glass tunnel. I think that's the next thing I want to tackle. This turned out pretty cool. I had some of that yellow dye left over from the concrete making, so I used that and just some of the light gray glass, and I think that's a neat mix. Different than anything we've done before, and a nice transition from just the standard gray to this. And what I like about the light gray glass is it's even more than just plain glass, it's the most transparent. Like, everything still kind of looks the same, and it's pretty unobtrusive, so I like it quite a lot. And then I think this yellow pops really nice. We have kind of a different section here in our tunnel. And that brings us to the next section, and I have no idea what I want this to look like. I just know I want it to be different. So we might do another variation on the gray just because we have that going on, or maybe we'll do something totally different since we've got so much gray that we just went through. So I'm gonna think about this area here because, again, I don't know what design I want to use necessarily. And I think the next thing I want to focus on, this tunnel idea, this elytra tunnel out to the intersection with our mesa. You know what? Just to clarify what I'm talking about, in case you haven't watched every single episode and you're like, what are you talking about with your mesa tunnel? So if we run back this way, past our ancient city and past our froglight farm, right up here, this portal goes out to our mesa outpost. And if we keep going back, that goes to the desert and the end and our old base and all of that. Right here is where I wanted to do that extension. So far, we've only taken it out this far. So let me do a little bit of digging here so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay. I think right out here is where our intersection is going to be. Grab some rockets. See if we can figure this out. Oh my gosh, I found it. So here's where the intersection would be. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, as far as making a tunnel, hi there. A little bit of work to do. Pretty precarious. This is a little more straightforward. We just need to clear out a lot of material, but that other side, yeah, we need to do a lot of work over there. So let's do some digging. Well, we've got a big old tunnel now. So what's going to happen is back here, this is the way to the mangrove swamp. And this tunnel, like I said, I'll come up with some sort of design so that it's nice and finished. And then what I want to happen is somewhere around here, I want it to kind of widen a little bit so that it's obvious that the tunnel is coming to an end. And then this cobblestone won't be there. But instead, we'll have these like bright yellow rings so we know which direction to fly. That's kind of the idea. You can see here as we walk up to this open area here is this nice yellow circle inviting us to fly through it. So I think here we'll probably have one yellow circle right at the entrance exit, and then this one, and then one more yellow circle entrance exit at the hub or the base or whatever we're going to call that thing out there. This I do want to take back just a little bit, I think, to about here. And that will put that yellow circle pretty central to this little flight path here. So let me do a little bit of that kind of cleaning up like I did over there in this tunnel. See what we got. Did a little bit more noodling here, opened this up, and added another yellow circle. And so this yellow circle will be the termination point of this tunnel. So we'll come running from down here, and once we get here, this is where we would take flight and look for the next yellow circle. We will rip the path out probably very last, just so that we have a way of reliably getting through and doing some work on this still. On this side, you can see here, I sort of stepped this down, and I think this entire floor is going to step down like this, and perhaps step up in the same way, so that this 3x3 tunnel sort of widens as it approaches, and it becomes very clear that we are coming to the end of the tunnel and we are taking flight. Next thing I want to do is figure out what we're going to make these tunnels out of. We've got this one. We've got the one that goes all the way down to the mangrove outpost. And then we've got the space between our glass tunnel and here. So I'm going to do a little bit of playing with some materials, run back to base and grab some stuff and see if I can come up with some ideas. Here are the ideas I have. Once we pass this glass bridge here, we end up in this. And what I've done is just continued using the andesite. It's kind of been a theme throughout here. And so I just kind of took the andesite up and over, and I think it makes kind of a cool kind of curve. And then I brought in some basalt. We've got a lot of basalt, and we're in the Nether, so that made a little bit of sense to me. Some of these cool tones. And I thought we might just continue this all the way down to the intersection. Once we get down to the intersection and we turn left, we're going to introduce some nether brick. And again, hanging on to the andesite. It again is a theme. It's something we've been using, that nice gray color. But when we mix it in with the nether brick, it has a little bit of a different look to it. It's a little more serene, I think. And using candles for light, I think, would be a nice little thing down here as we go to the portal for our mangrove swamp. So yeah, just a mix of the basalt, andesite. I like these little pedestals here with the nether brick, and that will be this tunnel. Now this tunnel, I kind of realized that we've not used the basalt on its end. Usually we use the smooth side texture, but we haven't used this texture. If we did that on the floors and the walls and the ceiling, creates kind of this TV static kind of feeling. It's just real bright, real cool. And then again, if we lean into the andesite, we took these kind of random undulating stripes down the side. And if we made those stripes different on each wall, I think that would be a really neat look as we go down to our elytra tunnel. So we have 3 really different designs using materials that I have plenty of, which I think is smart to do. And I think that would pretty well tie up this end of our nether tunnels. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about these designs, or if there's little changes that you think would look better. And I think that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. My voice has been a little bit froggy this week, and I don't want to push it too hard. So thank you all for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow along on the adventure, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.